And then all of a sudden, Biden has some. Wow, it was almost 10.
Biden
and
has
then it
some
grew
here
to
and there.
200, and then it's like, what is treason really?
So moving on to the Epstein segment, we have government officials doing the exact thing that they screamed at other people doing not a moment ago. And in this case, we have a news article from ABC, so definitely not fake news, that the title of the article is Former Top FBI Official Charles McGonigal Arrested over ties to Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska.
Was that your Russian?
It was bad.
You shit on my fucking Russian.
Oleg Deripaska.
Oleg Deripaska. Doverish. Bush moy.
It's not bad.
It's the same one I did at the... Anyway.
So it wouldn't be... that would be funny enough, right? Because you're like, wait a minute. What's this FBI official doing helping this Russian oligarch? I thought Russian oligarchs were persona non grata since, last February when Putin invaded Ukraine.
You did it again.
But that would be funny enough, except for the fact that this McGonigal was one of the FBI officials that worked closely to do the investigation of Trump's ties to Russia. So, I mean, just as we said all throughout that time, right, when the Hillary campaign was accusing Trump of malfeasance and cheating and all this kind of stuff, it's always projection.
How many times?
It's always the reason why they have information or whatever about somebody doing X, Y, or Z.
Because they're doing
X, Y, or Z.
Jesus Christ! We need to get rid of these gays. And he's tapping his toe in a fucking Minnesota bathroom. You know the one. Don't make me say it out loud.
That was the opinion of a sitting, I think, senator at the time. Not David. Don't cancel WMD podcast. David wasn't saying get rid of the gays. That was the subject.
And then all of a sudden we need to lock Trump up because he's got secret documents in a safe that he shouldn't have had. Over 200. And then all of a sudden Biden has some. Wow. It was almost 10.
Biden
and
has
then it
some
grew
here
to
and there.
200, and then it's like, what is treason really? I mean, and then Pence has more documents. They're like, oh, that Pence piece of shit. Like, you guys can't even... How can we take you seriously when you won't even take the subject matter that you're addressing seriously? You just know how you're supposed to respond to it. You're not actually taking in information, digesting it, and regurgitating your own opinions. You just know red bad, blue good. Red person does something bad, it's the worst thing ever, and it's Nazism. It's going to kill all of us. It's nuclear war. Blue person does it. Well, it's not so bad. He just made a little mistake. We can forgive him. He's a forgetful guy. He's got hairy legs and smells little girl's hair. Like, I don't know where we come back to the center on this, Dane. Please help me.
Well, the center of the story that we're covering here is, well, what did McGonigal do? Now, it's not clear from the article here that Oleg wound up on the United States sanction list because of the Russian invasion or not. I'm not sure when he wound up on the list or not, but he was one of those terrible Russian oligarchs who you're not supposed to do business with because of his ties to the Putin regime and all this kind of stuff. Well, what did McGonigal do as the special agent in charge of counterintelligence in the FBI's New York field office? Well, he worked to try to get Oleg Deripaska taken off the sanctions list. So literally one of the worst people in the world, if you believe the mainstream media sources and, regurgitating the Biden administration's talking points on Russia. But old Charlie McGonigal is willing to, stick his neck out with, I think they said in here something like he has a very distinguished career with the FBI, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, he's for sale to the highest bidder just like anybody else. Only difference is he's got a hell of a lot more power than a lot of people.
Because old Chuck McGonigal plays by Chuck McGonigal's rules, all right? I fly by the seat of my pants is the way I've always done it. It's the way I'm always going to do it. So I investigated him, and by investigating him, I left the door open to help him out later with something that might benefit me in the process.
Yeah.
That sounds like a politician to me. I don't know.
Are you super shocked that people with tons of power use that power corruptly?
When they're not held accountable, Dane? How many years is he going to serve for this?
First time I've heard of such a thing.
How many years is he going to serve for this? Because this is clearly treason.
Well,
this is clearly stepping outside the laws and rules and regs that we have. And we've got a little thing here called rules and regs.
This is from the article to answer your question about what his punishment could be.
Could be.
Then we'll place bets on what it actually is. It says, quote, both are facing money laundering charges in addition to charges for violating the sanctions. Each of the 4 counts carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison.
I'm not a good mathematician.
So a maximum of 80 years in prison for both Oleg and McGonigal. And in addition to probably fines and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah.
So let's play a little game, David. Plus or minus, let's set it low. Let's say plus or minus 10 years for McGonigal.
I'm going to go, he'll get 10 years right after Hunter Biden gets his lifetime sentence in the state of execution.
Yeah. We will hold our breath accordingly.
Next segment, Dane.